sleek black SUV pulls up to the edge of a dusty town. The door opens, and a polished leather shoe steps down into red soil. Well-dressed, sunglasses hiding eyes full of memories. He takes a slow breath. This is the town where he once begged for bread. A little girl approaches, no older than 7, holding a handful of wilted roses. "Buy a rose, sir. It brings love." Her voice is soft but confident. He kneels slowly, staring at her face. Something in her eyes freezes him. He takes a rose with trembling fingers. "What's your name?" he asks. No answer. She only smiles and skips away. He watches her go, stunned. His voice low, internal echoes in his mind. "She has her eyes. The same eyes that once saw the best in me, when I had nothing." He grips the rose tighter and walks toward the center of town. Locals glance, whisper. No one recognizes the man they once ignored. He walks past the corner where he used to sleep on cardboard, past the church where she brought him bread. He stops at a newspaper stand. The vendor squints at him. "Don't remember you. You from here?" "I used to be," he replies coldly. "I'm looking for someone." He pulls out a worn photograph. The vendor frowns. "Her. Left long ago. Sweet girl. Quiet. Shame, what happened?" "What happened?" he presses. The vendor glances away. "Ask the tailor." He walks down the road, the tailor's shop still painted faded blue. Inside, the same man who once gave him scraps now blinks in surprise. "You were the stray she loved," the tailor says, wiping his glasses. "Where is she?" His voice shakes. "She disappeared. Some say pregnant. Some say broken-hearted. All I know, she never came back." He sits in silence. Outside, laughter echoes from children playing. He closes his eyes. In his mind, he sees her again, her laugh, her touch, the way she patched up his coat when no one else saw him as human. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" he asks. "You were gone," the tailor replies. "Chasing the world." She stayed. Until she couldn't anymore. He leaves the shop and walks to the old chapel on the hill. It's empty now. Dust dancing in sunbeams through broken glass. He kneels at the last pew. Closes his eyes. Holds the rose. Her voice comes back, a memory. "Even if you leave, promise you'll find your way back to me." "I did," he whispers. "But you're not here." Later, he walks into a small shop to buy water. His eyes drift to the corkboard by the counter, faded ads, missing pets, lost keys. Then his breath catches. A photograph, curled at the edges, yellowed by the sun. It's her, smiling, holding a little girl. The same rose, the same eyes. He steps forward. "Who put this here?" he asks the shopkeeper. "Photo's been there years." Nobody knows. He stares at it. The woman who once loved him when he had nothing. Holding a child that might be his. His jaw tightens. His heart pounds. He steps back slowly, still gripping the rose the little girl gave him. His eyes fixed on the photo, the past crashing into the present. The morning mist hangs low over the town as he stands outside the rusted gate of an overgrown garden. Vines choke the fences, and dried roses cling to broken trellises. He stares at it for a long moment before pushing the gate open. It creaks, loud in the silence. He steps inside. This was their place, the garden where she once planted hope into soil and kissed him between the lilacs. Now it's abandoned, forgotten. He walks past the bench they carved their initials into. His fingers brush the engraving. FIS plus AM. He closes his eyes. Suddenly, flashback. Laughter. She's planting roses. He's on one knee beside her, brushing soil off her cheek. "One day," she says, "this will all bloom and so will we." He laughs, kisses him, fades. He opens his eyes. The laughter is gone. The garden is dead. A voice pierces the silence, angry, suspicious. "Hey, you don't belong there anymore." He turns. An older woman stands behind the fence with a laundry basket in her arms. That girl moved out years ago, she snaps. Vanished one night. Never even said goodbye. He steps toward her. Do you remember her name? What happened to her? She narrows her eyes. Ariella. Sweet girl. But too quiet. Kept things bottled up. Then poof, gone. Like she was running from something. His fists clench. Running from what? He shrugs. Maybe from you. She disappears into her house, door slamming behind her. He turns back to the garden, haunted. Something doesn't feel right. He begins walking around, eyes scanning the ground, the corners of old flower beds. A memory pulls him to the far corner beneath the oak tree, where she used to sit and write letters she never sent. He kneels. The dirt feels soft, freshly turned but covered in dry leaves. He digs, slowly, hands shaking, and then he feels it. Something wrapped in plastic, tucked inside a metal tin. He pries it open. Inside, a folded piece of paper, aged and yellow. His name is written on the front in her handwriting. Francis. He freezes. He holds it in his hand. He doesn't open it. Not yet. His thumb runs across the ink. The silence grows louder. His breathing quickens. Why did she write it but never send it? Why bury it? What secret is inside? He clutches the letter to his chest. His eyes scan the garden one last time. Her shadow is everywhere. In every broken petal. In every silent breeze. He stands, letter in hand, heart full of questions. And then he hears a child's voice laugh in the distance. Sounds familiar. He turns. No one's there. Just echoes. The village hills as children in mismatched uniforms laugh and run toward the small schoolhouse. Inside, she stands before a blackboard, chalk in hand, her voice soft but steady. Riella. Her smile is calm, but her eyes are not. They drift often to the window, to the wind, to somewhere else. Or someone. She helps a shy boy pronounce dream. The word lingers in the air like a ghost. After class, she walks alone through the courtyard. A fellow teacher rushes up with a paper in hand. You won't believe it, the teacher says breathlessly. We just received a major donation. From a foundation in the city. Ariella smiles politely. Distracted until the name hits her. Francis M. Her hand trembles slightly. She takes the paper, reads it once, twice. Her breath catches. Her heart stumbles. She hasn't seen that name in years. Not on paper. Not in her ears. But always in her dreams. The other teacher is still talking, but she's not listening. She's seeing him again, tired, hungry, smiling at her with nothing but kindness in his hands. She swallows hard. When is the event? She asks quietly. Tomorrow. He's attending. Imagine. A billionaire. Coming here. That night, she sits at the edge of her daughter's bed. The little girl clutches a worn teddy bear. The same one Ariella used to carry when she was scared. Mama, why are you sad today? The child whispers. Ariella brushes the girl's hair back, forces a smile. I'm not sad. Just remembering old stories. About my papa? The girl asks. Ariella pauses. Some stories are too heavy for little hearts. She kisses her daughter's forehead and turns off the light. But outside the door, her face crumples. She leans against the wall, breath shallow, eyes glistening. The next morning, the school is dressed in bright colors. Children wave flags. Banners hang over the entrance. The whole village is buzzing. Ariella helps set up chairs, her fingers twitching with nerves. She turns every time a car pulls up.
She tries not to, but she does. Then someone calls out, "He's here." She ducks behind the curtain of the small office. She doesn't want to see him. Not like this. Not with all the years between them. Not when the truth is buried so deep. Outside, the headmaster greets Francis with a warm handshake. The billionaire smiles politely, scanning the crowd. His eyes searching for something he doesn't admit aloud. The speeches begin. The applause rolls. But she doesn't come out. She watches through a narrow crack in the door. He's taller, sharper, but it's still him. Her fingers press into the frame, knuckles white. A student hands him a bouquet. He smiles, but his eyes are tired, like he's waiting for something to appear. And then, as the event winds down, he turns. She's trying to slip past the side of the crowd. Their eyes lock. Everything stops. The noise fades. The children blur. The air thickens. She freezes. He steps forward slowly, uncertainly. But then, she turns and disappears behind a group of teachers, vanishing into the school like a breath of wind. He's left standing alone in the sea of color and cheers, a rose still clutched in his hand, his heart hammering against years of silence. Street vendors scramble to cover their goods. Children run under awnings, giggling, but he stands still outside the school gate in the rain. His coat clings to him, shoes soaked, but he doesn't care. He's waiting, watching, hoping. She steps out a side door, her arms full of books, caught off guard by the downpour. She hesitates. He moves toward her, silent. She gasps when she sees him, instinctively stepping back. For a long beat, they just stare at each other, drenched, wordless, as the rain pounds between them like time itself. Then he raises an umbrella, offers it to her. She doesn't take it. She steps back again. "Why now?" she says, low but sharp. Her voice is wet with more than rain. "Why here? Why after all these years?" He swallows, pain rising like the storm behind his eyes. "I looked for you, Ariella. For years. I thought you left because you didn't want." She cuts him off, bitter. "Don't say you searched. You disappeared. One day you were promising dreams in my hands, and the next, nothing." He closes the umbrella, lets the rain fall on both of them. "I was arrested that night, Ariella. Wrong place, wrong time. I didn't even get to say goodbye. I lost everything, including you." The books fall from her hands. Splash. She looks down, shaken. He steps closer. "I came back to the garden. I found the letter." She turns her face away, tears mixing with the rain. "That letter wasn't meant to be found. But I found it anyway," he says. "Because I never stopped believing you were still out there. Still us." She finally looks up at him. "There is no us, Francis." He touches her hand. "You never even told me about the child." Her eyes flash. Her voice cracks. "What would it have changed? You were gone. I had to become two people just to survive. A mother and a ghost." The pain shatters him. "Let me explain. Me." Suddenly, without thinking, she throws her arms around him. A desperate, wordless embrace. His arms wrap around her instantly. For a second there's silence. Just rain. Just hearts pressed together, soaked in memories. Then it explodes. She pushes him back, slaps him hard across the face. "Don't come here acting like love can fix time," she yells. "You're too late." He reels from the slap, stunned but doesn't move. Behind her, a small voice breaks the moment. "Mommy!" They both turn. Her daughter stands a few feet away in a yellow raincoat, holding a paper swan in her hand, eyes wide and confused. "Mommy," she asks softly, "who is he?" Ariella's lips part but no words come. Francis stares at the child, then back at her. Everything sinks in. Francis sits in his luxury SUV parked outside the school, engine off. He watches through the windshield as children arrive. And then he sees her, the little girl in the yellow raincoat. A paper swan in her hands again, walking beside Ariella. He doesn't get out of the car. He watches. The girl turns just for a moment and looks right at him. Their eyes meet. She tilts her head, curious. He flinches. His breath hitches. Later that day, she finds him sitting on a bench in the garden that used to be theirs. Overgrown. Forgotten. He doesn't look up when she approaches. "She has your eyes," he says flatly. Ariella's jaw tightens. "Please don't." He turns toward her now. "Just tell me the truth." "She's mine," she says simply. "And mine," he presses. "She's safe," she whispers. She doesn't need confusion. She doesn't need a stranger storming into her life with a suitcase of apologies and guilt. He stands. I have a right to know. He fires back. You had a right to stay. You didn't. I was in prison, he snaps. And I was in pain, she retorts. But I still showed up. Every single day. They're standing inches apart. The wind carries the weight of years between them. Her hands are shaking. So are his. She walks away. Later that night, back in his suite in the city, he pours himself a drink but doesn't touch it. Instead, he makes a call. Private investigator picks up. Francis speaks slowly. I need answers. Her name is Amara. I want to know everything. Especially about the little girl. In the village, Ariella reads her daughter a story. The child snuggles in content. Mommy, she says softly. Who was that man yesterday? The one who looked at me like he knew me. Ariella's voice trembles. Just someone I used to know. The child looks up at her. I feel like I've known him before. Tears gather in Ariella's eyes, but she kisses the girl's forehead. That's just your heart playing tricks. Days pass. The private investigator returns with documents, photos, paper trails, medical forms. One strand of hair was enough. Francis takes the folder with shaking hands. Inside a single sheet.
DNA results. 99.9% match. Paternity confirmed. He stares at the paper, jaw locked, heart pounding. Then his phone buzzes. Message. From an unknown number. Now that you know, what will you do? He looks around his darkened suite. Lone. Drenched in silence. The school library where Ariella sorts textbooks while her daughter colors quietly beside her. A knock startles them both. Francis stands in the doorway, not in a suit this time, but simple clothes, soft eyes, no guards. Just him. He gently kneels in front of the girl and hands her a small box. She opens it. Colored pencils, the expensive kind. I remember you like to draw, he says. She beams. Thank you, mister. Ariella steps in fast, closing the box. We don't accept gifts. Francis stands. It's not a gift. It's the beginning of something. I want to take care of you both. I have an estate, a school fund. Anything she needs. Ariella crosses her arms. We're not your charity. Francis is stunned. It's not charity. It's what a father does. Her voice drops low. You weren't there when she had her first fever. Or when I worked 3 jobs to keep her in school. You don't get to buy what you didn't earn. That night, he walks her home through dim village paths. Lanterns sway gently in the wind. Crickets hum. Neither of them speak for a while. I'm not trying to own you, he says eventually. I'm just trying to be part of what I lost. She sighs. You can't just insert yourself into a life already lived. It doesn't work that way. They reach her doorstep. Rain begins again, just like the night they reunited. He reaches out and brushes wet strands of hair from her face. Ariella, I never stopped loving you. Her breath catches. The space between them narrows. His lips hover over hers seconds from touching. Then her eyes flicker with guilt. She pulls away, voice shaking. I can't do this to her, or myself. She enters the house and shuts the door. The next day, Francis arrives at a hotel in the city for a business gala. The room sparkles with champagne glasses, silk gowns, and suits stitched in silence. A woman walks toward him, tall, poised, expensive. Isabella, his corporate partner. His rumored fiancée. Francis, she says with a smile that could shatter glass. You've been off the radar. He forces a grin. Just taking care of something personal. Her eyes narrow as she glides closer. I saw the foundation transfer. The one to a village school. Sweet gesture. Then her voice drops to a whisper. Who is she? He stiffens. Looks away. But it's too late. Isabella smiles with sharp curiosity. You look like a man caught between 2 lives. Ariella walks through the market holding her daughter's hand. Vendors who used to greet her with warm smiles now shift away, watching something or someone behind her. It turns. Isabella, draped in a white designer dress that doesn't belong anywhere near the red earth of this village. Heels clicking against the dusty ground like a challenge. Her lips curl into a smile too sweet to be kind. Francis didn't tell me you were so humble, she says loudly. Ariella tightens her grip on her daughter's hand. Can I help you? You already have, Isabella purrs. You gave him a reason to run. He always needs a reason. He never stays anywhere too long. Ariella doesn't flinch. But her daughter looks confused. Villagers pause mid-conversation. A fruit seller stops arranging oranges. Isabella closes the distance. You should know, he and I have an understanding. We build things together. Real things. Companies. Legacies. Ariella's voice is calm. Then why are you here trying to tear someone down? Because I protect what's mine, Isabella snaps, voice louder now. And I don't want my future husband playing house with the past. The words slice through the air. Ariella's daughter hears them too. Her eyes dart up. Mommy, what does she mean? Ariella bends to meet her gaze, soft but firm. Nothing important, baby. Isabella drops a thick envelope on a nearby table. It's enough to disappear. Change schools. Change names. Take the child and walk away. Everyone wins. Ariella doesn't even look at it. She picks up the envelope and throws it into a basin of water nearby. Sinks like stone. Isabella blinks in disbelief as soggy bills swirl beneath fruit peels and soapy water. Later, Francis storms into the village, breath ragged. He finds Ariella's house open, a few belongings gone. The daughter's school bag is missing. Her favorite book still on the floor. He walks in, calling her name, but the silence answers first. Then, on the small table by the window, he sees it. A note, handwritten in steady, heartbreaking letters. We're leaving. Please don't find us. The paper trembles in his hands. He rushes outside. Shouts into the wind. He checks every path, every vendor, every place she might have gone, but the village is only whispers now. He returns to his car, hands shaking, and calls his investigator. Activate the search again, he says, voice breaking. She's gone. Back in the city. Isabella sips wine on a penthouse balcony, watching the skyline glow. She smiles. Francis leans over the steering wheel, eyes darting from road signs to bus shelters, lips pressed tight, heart pounding like the storm outside. Voiceover. I lost her once. I was too poor. Now I'm too late. I won't lose them again. Every station he stops at, he shows the same photo: grainy, faded, Ariella and a girl in school uniform. Some shake their heads. One woman squints, nods toward a road. Maybe they caught the last bus to Goma. He doesn't think he drives. Cut to Ariella on a cramped bus, clutching her sleeping daughter in one arm, and a small bag in the other. Her eyes are red. Her hand trembles as she reaches into her coat and checks something in an envelope. She tucks it back in, holds her daughter closer, whispers, "We're going somewhere safe, okay?" Flashback. Ariella in a clinic office. A nurse speaking softly, words falling like bricks. "We've confirmed it's degenerative. But manageable, if treated early." Ariella staring in disbelief, clutching the paper that now rides with her in the storm. Back to present. Francis pulls up to a roadside rest stop. Bus tracks still wet. He runs through the mud, asking travelers, scanning faces, calling names into the rain. Then he sees it. Near a vending machine, something fluttering in a puddle. He picks it up. Tuggy. Torn at the corner. Her handwriting. His name. And behind it, a printed page from a hospital. His breath catches. Diagnosis. Pediatric cardiomyopathy. Urgent referral. He clutches the paper to his chest. The rain doesn't matter now. His phone rings. His private investigator. They bought 2 tickets to Goma. Bus breaks halfway in Rubavu. Francis turns, jumps in the car. He presses the accelerator down hard. Cut to the bus again. The daughter opens her eyes weakly. "Mommy, I'm tired."
Ariella strokes her forehead. He feels warm. He checks the time. "Just a little longer, sweetie." Meanwhile, Frances races the night through forests, flooded roads, fogged windows, every mile pounding with desperation. She thought I was the danger. But the real threat is time. At a police checkpoint, he flashes a passport, a bribe, a whisper. "My daughter's on that bus. Please." The screen splits. On the left, Ariella clinging to her daughter, whispering prayers. On the right, Frances soaked in sweat and rain, foot slammed on the gas. Finally, the cliffhanger. The bus pulls into Rubavu terminal. The door opens. Frances's car screeches in from the other side of the road. They both step out at the same moment, hearts stopping as their eyes meet once again. Then Ariella collapses. He runs to her, sees what she's holding. Not luggage. Her daughter. Unconscious. Eyes closed. Breathing shallow. Frances shouts for help. The fluorescent lights hum softly above the hospital waiting room. It smells of antiseptic and stale coffee. Frances paces like a caged animal, one hand in his pocket, the other clutching a crumpled consent form. Ariella sits frozen on a cold metal bench, eyes fixed on nothing, hands numb in her lap. "I'll pay anything. Just do something," Frances says, his voice trembling, directed at the doctor, who walks away without responding. His face is pale. Money means nothing when your child's heartbeat is on a monitor. Ariella finally speaks. Not to him. To the wall. "You think this fixes everything, don't you?" He turns, startled. "I just want her to live." She stands slowly, eyes glassy but sharp. "You weren't there when she said her first word. When she had her first fever. When I had to choose between food and medicine. Ariella, I don't need your money. Need you. I needed you then. I need you now. But not like this. Not buying your way into her life like she's some contract." She breaks. The words shatter her composure, and tears fall freely. Frances moves to her. First she pulls away. Then she doesn't. He steps closer. "Then I'll stay. All night. All day. Every second." They sit on the bench. She rests her head on his shoulder. Slowly his hand finds hers. Fingers intertwine. Later, past midnight. The camera pans over the dimly lit corridor. Nurses walk quietly. The waiting room is quieter. Frances sleeps in a plastic chair, his head resting against the wall, hand still clutching hers. Ariella is beside him, awake now, watching him in silence. Flicker of warmth and fear. In the stillness she whispers, "She deserves the kind of father you were always meant to be." Cut to early morning. The surgeon enters, clipboard in hand. He's stern, tired but focused. Ariella and Frances rise instantly. The doctor doesn't waste time. "We're prepping her now. She's stable but just barely." Ariella clutches her chest. "What do we need to do?" The doctor looks at Frances. "We need the father's presence in the room. Genetic confirmation protocols. Consent. And..." He hesitates. She keeps calling for him in her sleep. Frances blinks. "Me." She says your name. Beat of silence. Ariella's eyes fill again, but not with anger. With something deeper. Something broken, slowly healing. Frances looks between the doctor, the hallway, and Ariella. "I'll go in. I'll do whatever it takes." The camera zooms on his face. He's no longer the man in the suit. Not the billionaire. Not the lost lover. Just a father rediscovering what it means to love beyond wealth. Outside the operating room, as he's led in, he stops at the door and turns. "I'll come back," he whispers to Ariella. "To both of you." She nods, tears streaming silently. The camera lingers on her, standing alone now, hope and fear warring in her eyes. Then a hard cut to black. Sound of the heart monitor beeping. Then a flat line. "My daddy was a stranger. Until he became our miracle." The voice is tender, innocent, that of the little girl. Cut to flashbacks of the child growing first steps. Laughter, tears and glimpses of Francis and Ariella watching quietly, sometimes close, sometimes apart. The contrast of absence and presence plays on the screen, the distance bridged slowly over time. The camera moves forward in real time. The surgery was a success. The doctor steps out, exhausted but relieved. Ariella bursts into tears of gratitude. Francis squeezes her hand, eyes shining with unspoken promises. Months later, the three sit under a large old tree in the village garden, leaves rustling softly, sunlight dappling their faces. It's the same garden where their love first blossomed years ago. The little girl runs between her parents, laughter spilling like music. Francis looks at Ariella, voice low and earnest. I built an empire without you, but I was never whole. Ariella's eyes soften. She reaches for his hand. Neither was I. Their fingers entwine as the girl climbs onto Francis's lap, smiling wide. The tension that haunted them all these years melts away in the quiet afternoon. Francis leans in, lips brushing Ariella's in a slow, tender kiss. It is a kiss filled with forgiveness, hope, and new beginnings.